I don't know how to start a video, but I'm Hootless, and this is Stardew Valley Honeybuzz, episode 6. It's raining today, so that's pretty cool. We don't have to water our crops, although we can, pull these up. Not pull up anything else, because there is nothing else to pull up, but, we're just going to be taking it easy. We'll probably go into the mines a bit today, and that'll be that, basically. I might eat these, actually, for energy later. Maybe I could chop down some more trees. Maybe. For now, we'll do our standard looking around for the forageables, and we will go from there. Well, it looks like there's, basically no forageables around. I mean, I looked in most of the standard spots. I've still yet to check the beach, the garbage cans, or the cindersap forest, but throughout, most of the town map, at least, there's no forageables. How dare these trees not bear fruit, and these villagers not throw away delicious meals for me to eat. How dare they? There's just nothing. Nothing at all. I guess if nothing else, we can always go and get the spring onions over on the cindersap forest map. I've also been informed that they can grow down next to the sewer grate, so I'll definitely check that as well. Hey, there's the mariner. That guy that doesn't show up in the winter, inconveniently enough. I'm just sitting here, silently playing. You guys can't hear because I cut out all the bits where I'm not talking. But, I figure I might as well talk about the channel, since I'm not talking about anything up in... Oh, there's a bush in the way. Up in this game. Right down here? Maybe right here, is where they meant. But either way, there's no spring onions over there now. So, yeah. Things are going pretty well, I'd say. Having a lot of fun doing the Sponsored Files series. If you guys haven't seen any of the videos, you should definitely check them out. Basically, it's a series where I play games that I get for free from the developers. I've started, for games that I'm really interested in, I email the devs, or use one of the press key distribution sites that I am signed up for. And I try to get the game, and I've actually managed to get a few games that I really wanted to play, and some that I hadn't really heard of before, but seemed really interesting. So, the Sponsored Files is where all those videos go, and they're pretty fun. Pretty good time. I talk about, or at least I try to talk about, sort of what I do and don't like about the game. I don't know, I have a habit of whenever I play games, I've spent a lot of time, I guess not a lot of time, but I've spent, comparatively a lot of time, compared to most people, thinking about game design and that kind of thing. So, whenever I play a new game, it's always, really annoying for people who play with me, because I just spend the entire time analyzing the game. And I'm yeah, this game would be so much better if they just tweaked this thing to be this way instead. And that way it's nice and easy. Or, there's a mechanic missing, and I'm hey, they should put this mechanic in. And then it would be immensely better, and it would fit so well. And I basically just do that with, everything that I play ever. So I end up with, just lists in my head of what should be changed about a game, even though I know they'll never get changed like that. And in Sponsored Files, I try to do that, but, externalize it a bit, and just, talk out my thinking process. Also, I forgot to sell all this stuff. Or at the very least, the coral and the oyster. But, it's a fun time. I really enjoy playing the games that I get on there. Basically, I have two requirements to play a game on a series, or for a video, or whatever. And those two requirements, the first one is, the game has to be able to run in 720p windowed mode. Because that's what I record in, and if I can't, record it in 720p windowed mode, if it only has full screen, it's a problem. Or if it doesn't have 720p as an option, then I tend to, not do it. But, as long as it records in 720p windowed mode, that's my first requirement. My second requirement is that the game has to not frequently crash when I'm trying to record it. if you play a game for 10 hours and it crashes once, that's fine. But if a game crashes 4 times in a 20-minute period, like what happened with small radios, big televisions, then I almost, like, stop trying, really. I did stop trying with small radios, big televisions, and I emailed the dev and I was like, hey, is there any way to stop the crashing? And he asked for the error logs, and when I tried to go generate error logs so that I could send them to him, it didn't crash again, and then I was able to actually record the 8-minute video that I got. So, like, as long as a game doesn't crash, then and it can record in 720p windowed mode, I'll play pretty much anything. I do have some preferences, of course, for like what kind of game it is. For example, I really like checking out novel storytelling techniques. Like, I'll use, again, small radios, big televisions as an example. It's kind of a strange game. It's pretty short, but it has a novel storytelling concept in that it, please, slime. I'm not even using my sword. It has a novel storytelling concept in that you're exploring abandoned factories and you have to try to find cassette tapes that are just in these abandoned factories. And you can put them into your tape player, and that, like, transports you into a small, sort of like a window, into an alternate world that you can click around in and, you know, basically, like, just look at it a little bit and collect the keys from them, that sort of thing. So I really like that as a mechanic. The game probably isn't worth it in and of itself to buy on Steam. And I feel bad saying that because I did get it for free from the developer. But, like, it's a good game, and I wouldn't fault it for anything except the price. I think the price is too steep for an indie game, especially one that's so short. But that's my personal preference. I always try to get an hour of gameplay out of a game for every $1 that I paid for it. So when a game only has like, you know, 2 hours of gameplay and I have to pay $15 for it, then I'm like, wow, that really wasn't worth it. And then, you know, it's just that, basically. But small radios, big televisions, while it's a really cool concept, it's not very long, and it's $12 on Steam. If it was like $5, I would recommend that everybody go and buy it. But at $12, it's probably like, you know, you can hold back on that one. If the dev makes it cheaper, though, would definitely recommend. It's a great game. Not really a great game, I guess. It's a great experience. It's really interesting to see, and I love it. Like I said, I love when games use unique mechanics that I haven't seen before, because it really gives me something to think about, and I can be like, whoa, this is really cool. I mean, I'm just sort of ranting about indie games at this point, but one of the biggest problems I have with indie games is that the developers almost always, like 99.999% of cases, the developers price the game too high. I personally feel like indie games should never be more than $15. And most indie games aren't even worth the $15, but there's like some that stand out where I would pay $15 for them. And there are very few, very, very few exceptions where an indie game, like an actual indie game, is worth more than $15. So, for example, you've got Binding of Isaac. The original came out on, I think it came out on Steam right away. It might not have been on Steam originally, not right away, but he sold it for $5, Edmund McMillan. And that's a good price. First of all, it's a good price for an indie game. $5 isn't too huge of an investment. It's, you know, it's pretty easy to just decide to drop $5 on a game. Not as easy as deciding to drop $1 on a game, but it's pretty easy to be like, yeah, sure, I'll pay $5 for that. And then even if you don't get the, you know, five hours of gameplay out of it, you can leave feeling satisfied. And in the case of Binding of Isaac, I mean, you paid $5 for this game, and then some people get like hundreds or thousands of hours out of it. So that's an example of where an indie dev underpriced his game to great success. and it was like a great game, absolutely worth the $5. And then you get other games, most indie games, where the developers just price it too high because they equate, like, I spent 4 years making this game, I should charge $25 for it, even if it's only like a $5 game. So, I feel like the developers miss out on a lot of sales they would probably otherwise get by pricing it too high, as opposed to pricing it lower. So, basically the point is, or like my reasoning, is if a developer prices their game at $20, and they get 100 sales, that is $2,000. But if they price their game at $5 and get 400 sales, that's also $2,000. And, I mean, it doesn't always work out, like, it's not a direct correlation. The cheaper your game is, the more likely people are to buy it, depending on the game. But I feel like it really helps to not overprice your game. Because, you could theoretically sell, 35 copies of a game that costs $60 and get the same output of somebody selling their $20 game 100 times, but it's a lot harder to find people who are willing to drop $60 on a game, especially an indie game, compared to somebody who's willing to drop $20, or even more prominently, someone who's willing to drop $5 or $1. So the price point really matters on indie games. And if any of you guys watching ever happen to develop a game, just make sure you consider that you shouldn't overprice your game. Like, even though it means a lot to you, and you put a lot of work into it, it's still probably not a $25 game in most cases. And I'm not trying to be mean when I say that, I'm just being honest. There's a lot of games, most prominently in recent memory, Owlboy, where it's $25, and that's too much, I feel, even for Owlboy, even though it's like, great sound design. It's got great visuals, the gameplay is pretty good, I guess. The story is a bit lacking, but it's not horrible. But the guy spent 9 years on it, so when he released it, it priced at $25, which was too much for me because I was actually going to buy it on release, but it was too high. Like, if it had been $15, I would have totally done it. But that's enough ranting about indie games and prices at the end of the video here. So hopefully you guys all enjoyed this video. Just talking about other stuff besides Stardew for once. And if you did, remember to leave a like, leave a comment. If you aren't already subscribed, I really recommend it. It helps out a whole bunch, and you get these videos straight to your inbox every day at noon Pacific Standard Time. But other than that, I'll see you guys all next time. Leave a like and a sub and a comment would be cool. And maybe you could check out more of my channel. Bye.